Sumo!
Welcome back to the Catch Up featuring Bryan Sumardi, and today's special guest is Mr. Patrick Ocheni, personal trainer for Bodies by Patrick.
Body by Patrick.
Body by Patrick. Sorry, I'm so sorry. You could say good morning, especially as Patrick's catchphrase, whether it's 9 p.m., 2 o'clock in the morning, or actually, I don't know, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Any time of the day.
Any time of the day, it's always a good morning for Patrick. We've been working together for what? I want to say at least 3 years,
Wow.
4 years.
Yeah, at least 3 years, man. Same spot.
Same spot. We met at Gold's Gym. This guy was #1 at Gold's as a personal trainer in the entire company in the U.S. world.
I
don't know. I never
world,
really ranked it. I never checked on that.
Not in the
myself.
world.
I just wanted to get by.
I know for a period of time in the company, in the U.S.
In the U.S.
In the U.S. Yeah.
Okay. How long was your streak?
My streak was for a while, man. I think at least a year.
At least no,
Yeah,
it definitely was at least 2. I remember every day I would come in like Patrick's looking at the little report sheet, like where is he at? Where is he at for the day or the week or the month? Like how much money did it bring in?
Yeah, I was definitely what's it called? A stickler to the ranking report, man.
Yeah. You had goals. You had goals. I always want to know, what was your motivation?
My motivation?
Yeah.
My motivation changed from time to time. I mean, when I first came into gold, my motivation was very simple: to make money.
Yeah. Okay. That's
because
very relatable.
I just got engaged.
Okay.
And
that was what, 2013? I started 2013.
No, I got engaged I started with goals back in 2009, I think. 2009.
Okay.
2009.
Gotcha.
So I just got engaged. So 2008, I think is when I got engaged. So, and then we had to plan a wedding. So I had to find a place to live. So all that requires money.
Yeah. I've been to my brothers who told me what's up.
It's hard to pay rent if you don't have money, man. So
I hear you.
And so at the time, my motivation was to make money, to be able to prove to. Actually, if I had to backtrack a little bit, before then, I was at a different job.
Okay.
I was at a different job, doing sales engineering.
Sales engineering.
Sales engineering. So because my background is actually electrical engineering. Electrical engineering. That's what I got my degree in.
At Maryland, right?
At University of Maryland, College Park. That's right. So, and then, but I just over time discovered that's not my passion. Engineering was not my passion. So when I decided to go to the fitness route, the other thing that motivated me was because people were like, Patrick, what are you doing, man? I left a pretty comfortable
office job, no?
Secured, office job. It was in sales, but it just was not going the way I wanted it to go. So when I left that job, I mean, I had a company car, I had a secure monthly income and everything. I mean, back then that was when the gas prices were starting to go up.
Okay.
I remember they gave me a company car with a gas card. I would just roll up to the gas station, just like swipe the card, and they pay for everything.
Nice.
So when
fancy car.
Fancy car. It was a pretty nice car. It was like at the time it was 2008, so it was a brand new car.
Okay.
So I didn't have to pay any kind of like what do you call it? Monthly payments, nothing. It was just I could drive it anyway. It was my car.
I just want to know how humbling that is to hear you say, because normally if you would ask me if I had a company car, I would say like, oh, it was like a Mercedes. It was like, I don't know, even if it's a brand new car, I would know the make, model, but that's just me. No. So you're not into material things.
No, I'm not, man. It's not what drives me, which is interesting because before in the past people have accused me of they accuse me of just trying to make money.
Right.
They think that I want to make money because I want to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And that is far from the truth. I'm the least materialistic guy probably will come across because I don't even buy a lot of stuff. Right? So different things motivate me. So going back to the motivation. So when I left that job, my other driving force was to prove to people that I could make it in the fitness world. Because they were like, man, Patrick, what are you doing? Why are you leaving this job to go do this fitness thing?
Gotcha.
They were like, you can do that part-time, but it's not a real job. So that was also driving me to prove people wrong that I could make it happen. And then secondly,
let's bring it way back. So you weren't born here either, right?
no.
You had that like immigrant entrepreneurial spirit. That's what I want to hear a lot. Or that's what I hear a lot.
I guess I don't know if it's that, but maybe it is. Maybe it is in my blood or something. I don't know. But I know for a fact that my heart was telling me the path I was going on before was not where I wanted to go.
Okay.
And then I basically asked myself a very simple question: is if not now, when? Right? And if it wasn't going to work, it's better to find out sooner rather than later, because at the time I was 8 years younger. Now I'm almost 40 years old. And I was like, if I don't find out now, when am I going to find out? You know, at the time I wasn't married yet technically. I was still dating my wife at the time. I didn't have a kid yet.
This is when you were in your first job? You're talking about engineering?
My sales engineering job.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was saying to myself, well, if I'm going to take a risk, now is the time to take it, because if I wait any longer, it's not going to happen when I get married, or it's less likely to happen.
Right.
When I get
you
married,
lose like a motivation.
Exactly.
Process.
Yeah, the responsibility just goes off the charts.
Right.
So you know, so that was my driving force, man, to come in and be like, you know what, I'm gonna prove all those people wrong. That yes, I can make a living in this field.
Gotcha.
Right. So and then after I got in, to then say to my wife, she did not make a mistake saying yes to my proposal to her. That we weren't going to find a place to live, because at the time I was living in my parents' basement, right? So when I proposed to my wife, you know, they were like, why are you proposing? You don't have a place to live. You don't have a real job.
You just had that intuition, like she was the one.
Exactly.
I got to do what I got to do.
Exactly, to make it happen, man.
Okay.
So that was it. That was the initial motivation. And then after I accomplished that goal, I just set other goals that drove me, and they just kept me going the entire time till today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just bring it one more time, like way back. Like where were you born?
Nigeria.
When did you come to the U.S.?
When I was very young, when I was 13 years old.
When you were 13. Okay, so that's like middle school? You got here in middle school?
Yeah, I did middle school, like 1 year of middle school, eighth grade. And then I went to high school. Yeah, I went to high school.
You grew up around here, right? You went to Walter Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Walter Johnson
High School. Walter Johnson High School.
And another thing I want to really bring out is you played sports.
Yes. The sports I played was wrestling.
Yes.
Yes, wrestling. Yeah.
Now I'm in the military, as you know. I just came back from drill. In the Marine Corps, I find there's a lot. I'm not gonna say there's a lot of wrestlers, but there's a lot of we do a lot of play fighting. Yeah. So wrestling is very common in the Marine Corps, especially in the infantry world. And what I find with the wrestlers, like specific wrestlers in my unit, or especially in the Marine Corps in general, they just have this like individual hunger when it comes to goal setting. Like usually they are like the first one to be like the leaders, or who want to take charge, or they want to take charge but they don't want to like get anyone's help. They're like the hard-headed, stubborn kids.
Well, there's probably some truth to that, because what I loved about wrestling was the fact that you can be a superstar individually and team-wise.
Right.
However, your individual stardom is not held back by the team.
Yes.
So that's what I love about wrestling. Like other sports, you have basketball. Like, you know, you can look at, I don't know, the Cavaliers, for example, LeBron James.
Yeah.
Okay, so LeBron James can do everything he needs to do to put the team on his back. However, he still needs to rely on everybody else.
Right, to actually win the game.
To win the game, exactly. So without them showing up, no matter how good or how great it is, they can still lose. But in wrestling, totally different. Wrestling, I can control my outcome, right?
You
I
can still win your match without
exactly,
having the whole team win.
So of course you want the team to be successful,
right?
But I just like the fact that nobody else was in control of my success. Like I can go out there, I can train, I can focus, I can control the outcome of my match.
Yes.
And I can still go on and achieve great, accolades, even if my team doesn't go.
Right.
So that's what I love about it. You get the team benefit, the team accolades, and then the individual accolades. So that will probably explain why wrestlers, they're like, look, yeah, exactly. They're like, look, whether you're with me or not, I'm going to go anyway.
Yeah. Like I got into wrestling my senior year because I was just like, I did football for my first 3 years. Usually the winter I would take off, and spring I didn't do any. I did track one year, and then my senior year I did volleyball because I think I was just like exploring
Volleyball.
High school.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. I played like libero. That was like my highlight. That was my highlight of that.
Okay.
But when I got into my senior year, when I tried wrestling right after football, it was like a revelation to me. I was like, I wish I did this from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I understand exactly what you feel like. Because I went to Einstein. Einstein at that time, it was from 2010 to 2000. Oh no, sorry, 2007, 2004, 2010. The team wasn't that great.
Right,
Just
right.
put it out there.
Yeah, Einstein is not known for the wrestling.
Right. We're known for our Latin dancing, which I'm getting into. That's pretty interesting too. And I'm relating everything in terms of business. But I'll get to that in another episode. So after high school, you went straight to Maryland.
Yep.
You got your electrical engineering degree.
Electrical
you got
engineering
your job
degree.
as a sales engineer.
Well, I had other jobs previously.
Okay.
But yeah, ultimately I ended up in sales engineering. That was probably the most glamorous job, if you will.
Okay.
With the best title.
So let's get into your fitness. How did you pick up fitness out of all of it?
Yeah, that's
wrestling or
No. If somebody had told me, many years ago that I would be a personal trainer, I'd be like, no, you're out of your mind. Because it was never in my field of view.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I went to school for engineering. I didn't even know this whole field existed.
Right.
I mean, but one trait, because we talked about what makes a successful trainer, right? Yeah. One trait that has stayed with me, that has always been consistent with me, is my willingness to want to help people. Okay. Right. So, and then also I've always worked for everything I have. So nothing that's ever been handed to me. Right. So when I went to Maryland, I had some scholarship grants. However, I still had to pay like a bulk of the tuition. Right. So as part of doing that, I had to get a job on campus. Right. So, and that's where for the first time I discovered the gym. Oh. I kid you not. I did not. When I was a wrestler in high school. 18 years old. Yeah. So when I was wrestling in high school, I never lifted a weight, really. I didn't really know the gym existed.
So you just went to wrestling practice and just wrestled?
Yeah.
And then went home?
Yeah. Well, I
guess with wrestling, there's not really training, like weight training involved.
Now there's great emphasis in it. But at the time, again, like
high school isn't that big on it.
At the time, it was never really emphasized. I mean, I knew of guys that lifted weights, but like you never saw me in the weight room, because I didn't know that really was something you should be doing, right? So everything I achieved was based on just going to practice, doing the drills, and just trying to master those drills, right? So when I got to college, I had to pay. It's interesting how things work out. I had to pay for tuition, right? Yeah. And I remember going to the campus information center or help center. I forgot what it's called. Okay. And then they were like, well, they're hiring it at the gym. I was like, okay, all right. So I went over there and I applied. And my job at the time was just to go to the gym and just watch people.
Make sure no one gets hurt.
Yeah, make sure nobody gets hurt. Not even really get hurt, but clean up. You know what I mean? So people would come in and rack their weights. My job was to go clean up and stuff like that. And if they have any questions, direct them to the right place, so on and so forth. But anyway, going back to the willingness to help people. Right. And this is a lesson whereby it's a lesson that has stayed with me over time is you never know who can come into your path and give you information and just have you change your life. Okay, so one day
I was talking about the job part, like saying that the lady told you that it was an opening at the gym, right?
No, that too. But in that situation, it was normal, right? I went in, I was like, okay, look, I need to pay for my tuition, and she pointed me in the right direction, right? Okay. I'm talking about moments where you don't expect information, like you're not looking for information, but messages come across your path. But you have to be able to recognize the information, So basically, what happened was this:
new knowledge, or be ready to accept whatever comes in your path.
Able to
adapt to certain situations?
What I'm saying is, okay, let me give you exactly what happened, because the question was, how did I get into fitness, right? So I was working at the gym, I was starting to become an engineer, right? So this job was simply to earn money to pay for my school tuition to buy my books.
Right.
Right. So one day, at that time, because I was hanging around the gym a lot, I have picked up some knowledge about working out. I was reading magazines and whatever because I had gained weight in college. I mean, that's a whole different story. But
we'll get to that too after this.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. But so I had picked up a few things here and there. So I knew enough to know when something is not been executed, when a movement is not been executed correctly, right? So then what happened was one day I was at the gym, I was working, and then this lady came in to work out, and I remember she was trying to do the tricep press down. It's called tricep press down. She was using the machine, and she was doing it completely wrong, like completely wrong.
Like just jerking it up and down.
Not even that. She was doing I think, whatever she was doing was like really wrong. And at the time, even though it was not in my job description, I was like, man, this lady's gonna hurt herself, right? So I couldn't help myself but to approach the lady and say, and this is what I said. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am." She was like, "Yeah," and I said, would you mind if I ask what muscle group you're trying to work, right? And she told me, and what she was doing, what she was doing was completely not correct. So I said to her, well, is it okay if I show you a better way to do it or a more effective way to do it? And she was like, oh, please show me. She was very, very eager to learn. And then I showed it to her, and she was like, wow, man, I feel it now. That is so good.
And this was a student or like a lady?
I don't even know.
You remember?
I don't even know who she was. This was my very first time ever meeting her. I'm not sure if she was a student, if she just was an alumni.
Demographic-wise, was she like older?
She was probably like
another
in her 20s. In her 20s. No, not 20. Maybe latest 35. I mean, like she was somebody I could relate to. Yeah, I could like relate to. So anyway, so she said, "Oh man, that feels so much better." And then the next thing she said to me was what changed my life. She said, "You have such a nice personality.
You're very personable.
You should become a personal trainer."
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that?
So you really didn't know what the job was.
I really did not know that existed. I am not even making that up. I did not know that existed.
Gotcha.
She was like, I was like, oh, personal trainer, what is that? And I was like, I just know. I was like, okay, thank you. And that was it.
Yeah.
But then that stuck with me. And then lo and behold, a few days later, I discovered that at the gym, this company had just, come to the gym, told our managers they were trying to certify people to become personal trainers. I was like, oh, okay. The lady said I should be a personal trainer. They get people certified. And then I didn't have that much money, but I had enough to be able to pay for the course. And then I just signed up. I just signed up. And that's how I became certified in personal training.
Oh, so you got certification from school?
Yeah, well, no. At the time, I got a certification from school. Yeah, at the time. That was, I don't know, I think it was back in, oh my goodness, 1999 or 2000 or something like that. And then and that's how I became a personal trainer. I didn't really know what I was doing. The lady said I'll be a good one. And that's all I knew. I got certified. But that's what I'm saying. Like, back then, I didn't say to myself, okay, I'm going to go to school, study to be physiology, become a trainer. But I did not even know it existed. So... And that's how the seed was planted, and then just over time, just germinated, and then...
That is super funny, because I have a similar story to that. All throughout high school, I played all those sports, football, wrestling, volleyball, track, here and there. But I never really thought about personal training either. I wanted to be an athlete. I thought I could go far. But I'm 5'4", and I think at the time I was like maybe 130 pounds. I was a little kid. I went to Montgomery College. And I think as one of my electives, I was just going through, trying to go to Maryland and get whatever degree, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And one of my electives was weight training, because my brother got me into it. At the time, my next older brother is 11 years older than me.
Oh wow!
So when he went to Montgomery College as well, but since he's 11 years older than me, I was probably 13. I was in middle school. That's when he got started into weight training. And by the time I got to college, he already moved out. And when I took weight training, my teacher, was Tony Pompas. The GM of Rockwell Town Center School's gym.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had a pretty good knowledge. Like I didn't know a lot, but I knew the basics enough. And it kind of went to your foundations of how you, in wrestling, all you did was just grounded the basics and just really honed in and made it perfect, which probably made you a good wrestler.
Right.
But that aside, it's like, he told me, like, straight up, to, like, he saw me train other students. It's like, have you ever thought about being a personal trainer? You should apply at Gold. You should apply at my gym. And I went there, and turns out it was very political. Because he wasn't in charge of hiring at the time. It was another fitness manager. I already forgot his name, but he didn't like me. And I ended up, it's like, okay, I guess my dreams are crushed. I didn't want to personal train anymore. And I found the Gold's Gym in Montrose, where we are now. And Mr. Thomas found me. Like I was training my friends, and he's like, yeah, you should work here too. I'm like, okay. What's the process? Like, I've been tricked once. You're not going to trick me twice. It's like, just fill it out online, and I'll work you through it. But my start of the story was he just threw me into the wolves. As you can see, the other trainers
Baptism by fire.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just got in. I think at the time, I was 20.
20 years old.
20 years old in here. And just throwing a couple clients here and there. Like, that's what happens in a commercial gym. I was scared, but I knew what I knew, which was the basics, and I taught that, and that's what I did. What's your first impressions from transitioning from sales engineer to a trainer? Because you started here as training, right?
Yeah. I started here training.
Did you also have that same philosophy of like, go?
Yeah, it was
just talk to people.
Just baptism by fire, man.
Right.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, there was no like formal training on programming and things like that. Your certifications don't prepare you for that kind of stuff. Yeah. Right. So it was just based off of what I knew, just like you said, what I knew from having lifted myself. Yeah. About form and
like I know chest presses. That's for my chest. Bicep curls.
How to combine different exercises to make something unique or different, or help the client achieve results. Yeah. And so you can almost say we kind of winged it.
I honestly want to say that's the way most people do. I definitely just heard that line in the military too. Like as you grow up, that's how you get in the leadership.
You fake it till you make it. Is it? Am I out of frame? Or maybe it's right there. Maybe go this way. There you go. That's better.
Good. Okay. So, all right. How many years have you been in the industry now?
Well, I have. Well, man.
So graduated Maryland.
If we counted my little experience in Maryland, I graduated in Maryland. I think it was back in 2002.
We're 17, 15 years.
So yeah, if we counted, I trained I think about 2 years.
Okay.
At Maryland. So if we counted that till now,
17.
About 17 years in the industry, off and on.
Off and on.
Okay. Off and on for 17 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah. and now you kind of want to classify yourself as like a weight loss specialist. That's what you
that's what I focus on. Okay. Right. So yeah, I specialize when it comes to training with clients. I specialize in clients. Right. That are interested in losing weight, body transformation, because it's what I can relate to the best. Okay. It's what excites me the best, just because I have personal connection to that. That's what I struggle
personal
with.
Experience.
Exactly. It's what I've struggled with my entire life. Okay. So I can relate to my clients and be like, look, I've been there, I've done it. Yeah. I still struggle with it. Yeah. So let's do it together.
Okay. Let's get into that. So when you moved here from Nigeria, where were you weight-wise?
I mean, a lot skinnier than this. Yeah? When I moved here, I did not have any weight issues. Okay. I mean, everything changed when I came to America. You know what I mean?
This is home of the greasy food, burgers.
Well, it's just not even that. It's just not even that, because I've never been big in like greasy food. It's just you have more. Yeah, you just have more. Okay. More to eat. You know what I mean? So you can eat a lot of good food and still gain weight, right? Gotcha. So it wasn't like, even till now, I don't. Some people have.
I could debate on that.
Well, if you eat two containers of rice, right, and don't exercise, you will gain weight.
It's true. Right. It's true. But I mean, for me, like knowing my diet, because I follow a macro diet, like flexible dieting. If I were to try to eat like chicken and rice, like it would be a limit on how much chicken I could eat before throwing it up again, or getting sick.
So different bodies, different processing.
That's
right?
true.
Right. So because trust me, I was eating a lot of chicken, and I was getting a lot of weight.
Okay. Gotcha.
So genetics plays a role into that too. Right. So, but yeah, so that's how it's funny how all this happened, because now I look back and all those, actually going back to wrestling. What got me into wrestling was because I was trying to lose weight. So how was your weight cuts? I know I have probably dropped at least 15 pounds at once, and I did it the bad way. Right. Well, I never had that issue because I was always. What was your weight class? I was 160 at the time. Okay. When I started wrestling, and how I started that too is like a whole interesting story. Yeah. But when I started because I wanted to lose weight. I was like, man, going from my country to here, I was like, I don't feel right. So I wanted to lose weight. So somebody introduced me to it. Again, I did not know it existed. Okay. I was like, what is that? Yeah. And my question was, do they do plenty of push-ups and sit-ups? They're like, yeah, we do tons of those. I'm like, sign me up. Sign me up. Okay. But when I joined, I was like 195 pounds. I was like 5'5". When you started? Freshman year in high school. And you did all 4 years, right? I did all 4 years. So you dropped 30 pounds? The first season of wrestling, the first year of wrestling, I went from 195 to 145. 50 pounds? 50 pounds. I didn't even know what I accomplished. In that one season? In that one season. I went from 195 to 145. And I remember that because at the time they gave us a wrestling jacket. They gave us a wrestling jacket. The one that's like a pullover, kind of like this with a hood? No, it was different. It was actually a nice jacket. It was actually a nice jacket. It had the Wildcat logo on it. And then it had your weight class on the jacket. That's legit. It was very nice. Later on I gave it to my sister. That's why you're the W school. I guess so. And I remember the weight class was 145. Okay. Because I went from 195 to 145. I didn't even realize what I accomplished. How long did that take you? Do you know? The wrestling season. So 3 months? Wrestling starts in November, end of November, and goes through March. December, January, March, or January, February, March. So about 4? About 4 months. I didn't even know that existed. So that was my goal. My goal was to join wrestling and lose weight. And then. So ever since you stayed 145-ish? No. 150? No. Any wrestler would tell you, just like when it comes to bodybuilding and cutting for stage or whatever, you don't stay at that weight. Okay. After every season, you go back to normal eating and no sports. With me, I only did wrestling. Right. Okay, so during the season, I was focused. Outside of the season, I didn't know enough to know that I had to stay. How to maintain. Exactly. I had to stay in shape. So I'll always get back in shape during the season, right? So I'll go back to normal eating after the season, and then I'll gain weight. But I never got to 195 again. I was I'll get to maybe 160? Yeah, 160, 165. Okay, 170. Yeah. So, and that's why I stayed. After that season, I stayed at 160, 165. I never got to 170, I don't think. Okay. But then after high school, that's a whole different story. Different story after that, right? So, do you even recall what you actually did, or was it just the programming at the school that got you? It was just straight up training. Just focus. Just focus every day. Tunnel vision. Yeah. Every day. They told you. It's pretty. The cool thing about wrestling is that it's pretty structured, right? Yeah. They tell you your weight class. I was supposed to be 160. Okay. And then not to eat too much. And then you have practice every single day. Right. And any wrestler will tell you that practice, wrestling practices were crazy. Okay. A lot of running, a lot of drills. You lose a lot of you burn a lot of calories. You sweat a lot. But just by grappling, in general. You sweat a lot. Yeah. And then also, you just condition, right? You don't drink a lot of water. You dehydrated. Right. I remember during practice, they would have a jar of ice cubes. And when we get water breaks, we just go over and grab a cube of ice cube, one cube, and suck on it. And that was water, okay? Everything counted. The practices were maybe an hour and a half. Every single day, something like that. Yeah, so I remember I got out of school 2:10. We left around 4. Yeah, 4:30, something like that. Yeah. So I was always very good at not going home and overeating. Okay, because you were already tired. Well, not that I was already tired. Actually, what happened was I cut out some very like heavy African food.
Okay.
that
Please
will
tell me
make you,
more. I'm big into food. I'm really big into food. I want to explore
that
food.
you eat it, you make you get weight, man. Like very starchy, very
Potatoes.
no, not really potatoes. It's almost like very hardened. What do you call it? Mashed potatoes. Oh yeah, potatoes.
I just said that.
I mean, in terms of the consistency, the
Okay.
texture of the meal itself, but it's not
Right.
actually mashed potatoes, right?
Right. I think I know what you're talking about. Indonesia, we have something similar.
Yeah, so it's like very heavy, like
Okay.
very heavy. So
It's kind of like a stew as well, like a beef stew.
Yep.
Okay.
You eat that, man. You just knock you out. You just go to sleep because it's very carb dense, right?
I see.
So I cut that out consciously because I mean I would eat that after practice, go back the next day I was like 10 pounds over, and I was like, what in the world? And interestingly enough, I have not eaten that food since 1993.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I can tell you I have a similar story.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, I was very picky with foods as well.
Uh-huh.
I was born here, so I kind of naturally got into the McDonald's, the Happy Meal. I always loved chicken nuggets, but I think coming into middle school, I was like, all throughout my elementary school days, I was picked up by my parents. And I always noticed like there was always a group of kids walking from my elementary school to my home. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. Like subconsciously, I was really like mindful too. I want to be a part of them. And I think I told my mom one day, I was like, can I walk home from school today? And at first she was like, no, like being a very Asian mom, just like very protective. I'm just being I guess a parent in general. I don't know as a parent, but I feel like I would be protective for my child. But and then I think my dad finally convinced her, like, let him do what he wants. It's not like, it was probably like a 30-minute walk. But then there was always like a group of kids coming my way. I lived in a very populated kid neighborhood, like just from grade school.
Okay.
So it was never like I walked alone. And then I realized I just made friends because normally after my, I think once I got to middle school, there was a ice cream truck always parked.
Ice cream truck.
Ice cream truck, yeah. That's where all the kids hung out after school. They'd grab like ice cream, or it was called Big Burst. It would be like a little bottle juice. It was maybe like 50 cents, 75 cents. So you just get that, you hang out with your friends, talk about school, and then you just walk home all together.
There you go.
And I think at that point, that's when I realized, like, I wanted to be a part of something. And then at the same time, I met one of my best friends now, still to this day. His name is Francisco, but I call him Danny. He was a big Dallas Cowboys fan. So, of course, football was our big thing. He lived actually down the street from me that I didn't know as we were walking home one day, or for like first time together. And I think within that like week or that month, it was probably like summertime, like around the spring. That's when I started walking home, and he just said, "You want to throw the football around?" And eventually, we found a field like around our neighborhood, and he, as a football player, you want to be the star player in football, as the quarterback. Of course, he wanted to be a quarterback, and I just wanted to be a part of a team, and I wanted to be just liked. So my biggest thing was I was his wide receiver, and he, like, the biggest play is the go route, the deep route, catching the deep ball. So I would always, like, usually every weekend, he would just bomb the ball. I would sprint as fast as I can, and I try to catch it.
Catch the ball.
Yeah, at first I wasn't really that good at catching, and I think I was probably. I remember when I was younger too. I would my mom would take me like go clothes shopping. I was always in the husky section, so I was chubby. I wouldn't say I was fat, but I was chubby because of all the McDonald's and stuff that I ate. And I think after that moment, and now that I look in hindsight, all those sprints, all those like, because he taught me like routes as well, like in routes, blah blah blah, all that football stuff. All that stuff was like fitness. And it got me to a point where this is my life now. And that's what I was going to tell you. I wanted to be an athlete. And that was my lifestyle. I feel like I'm digressing onto my own story. But it really made sense to me. Like, hearing your story, like, we're very, very similar. And I feel like that's why we are really just friends in general. Right, even though we never really sat down to talk. And I feel like this is pretty awesome. Damn. So I guess going back onto you, your story was wrestling, always going down to the basics, and now when you train, you train also HIIT training. That's what you like
mostly
to do best?
mostly. I mean, for the bulk of my clients are able to handle it.
Okay.
Right? We use HIIT training, because you never really want to use the same routine for everybody. So like the different variation of HIIT based on the client goal and what they're able to handle. Right. So, but yeah, for the most part, it's been proven, science has proven it, that, HIIT is the best way to get the most for your time. Right?
Okay.
The most result for your time. Yeah.
Do you like to do more like body weight stuff with them? Mix it with machines? Barbell work?
I mean, I do both. I mean, again, to be able to keep the interest of a client, you have to be very good at being able to strategically mix it up. Okay. Right? That way they don't feel like they can
do the same thing.
Do the same thing over and over again. And there's some clients though that like the predictability over and over again. So like just you can give them the same routine every single day, and that's what they want.
They love it.
They love it
because they don't have to think anymore.
Yeah, they just give the same routine. Sounds weird, but hey, look, you got to give the client what he wants or what she wants.
No, actually, I agree with that. To a certain extent, I believe in that as a successful way, because I've been looking into more of like just successful people nowadays. Like I did look up Michael Jordan, like the Denzel Washington. Nowadays, like the Elon Musk, Gary Vaynerchuk, Ty Lopez. And then the people that they like interviewed in their life, or Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss especially, his biggest question that I really like to ask people as well is, what's your morning routine? Because I find that successful people normally, if their morning isn't right, like how they normally are, it kind of throws them out of whack.
Right.
And I remember when I first started here, you would be in here at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
You'd be training from 5 a.m. all the way till like 8 p.m.
Long days, man.
So you in a way were like that. You had your morning routine. Can you tell me like what did you do every day? Like how did you start it off to be like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm grinding. I gotta make this financial goal. I gotta do this for my wife. And I think nowadays you did it for your kids now.
Now it's a different motivation,
right?
Each stage of your life, brings about its own set of motivation, right? Assuming you're trying to make progress, right? You can choose to stay the same throughout your life, right?
Yeah.
So, and just be the same and don't make any progress. But
if you're happy, you're happy.
Yeah, if you're happy, if that's what you want, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
So, but I am not like that. I'm always looking for the next age, so to speak.
Right.
But in terms of my routine, though, I mean, I never lost focus. I never lost focus of the main thing, right?
So do you say like you have like positive self-talk, you have affirmations that you say every morning? Did you
not necessarily
do any prayers, something like that?
Well, one thing I did do was just get myself, I always thought to myself, I wanted to be a kind of person that people will look at and want to emulate, right?
Okay, like a role model.
So like I always want to be able to say to myself, nobody can outwork me. Like nobody can outwork me, nobody can outtrain me, nobody can.
The Kobe Bryant's, the Michael Jordan.
Yeah, so that kind of mentality, I guess.
I don't think they ever thought about it. Legacy, I was like, they just wanted to win so bad.
Yeah.
That was like, nope. If you even try to like beat me, I'm already like 10 years ahead of you.
Yeah. So that was just my mentality. That's like my clients, like for example, also I approach the same with my clients. Like I said to my clients, none of my clients could be more excited than me. Like they cannot have as much energy as they can try.
I can definitely attest to that. There's no trainer I know yet to this day, even like online celebrities, you can keep up the energy that Patrick has.
Yeah, man, no time all day. So every morning when I woke up, I always wake up the same time every morning now, like 3:25 a.m.
3:20. Okay.
Every morning I wake up. I don't even have to set my alarm anymore. 3:25 I get up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
even when it's like cold out. When the weather changes, my body changes.
It doesn't matter. Every morning 3:25. Monday through Sunday, I get up and I like to go to my computer. And actually, nowadays, I spend some time getting inspiration from other people's success stories, right? I go online, go on YouTube, and watch what other trainers are doing and how people are trying to build this stuff online, and just, how people have had, like, personal success stories from a transformation point of view. I look up.
I see that on your Facebook, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I do stuff like that. So, and what that does is help me stay motivated because, again, I'm looking for the next challenge.
Right.
So, and then because it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
My wife is still asleep. My son is still asleep. It's very quiet. Most of the world is still asleep, right?
You have your headphones in.
Yeah. So I just love that quietness. So it helps me meditate, and I just stay quiet.
Right.
And then it gets my mind into the zone of, okay, it's time for work. All right. And when I show up, at work, it's business.
Are you still in here at 5 o'clock in the morning now?
Oh yeah. I mean, not as much now. I mean, now I'm because now I've achieved a level of success.
Right.
So
you've done it for years. You literally done it for years.
I've earned it, right?
Right.
But still, I still have those clients that I choose to work with at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So I still get in at 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
If I wanted to, I could be here at 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays, I just choose to start a little later just because I want to see my son in the morning when he wakes up, right? So that's why I stay.
Family.
Yeah, exactly. Nowadays I treasure that time with family because my son is growing so fast, right?
Yeah.
So I like to be there to witness
all.
How old is he now? Now he's 2.5. 2.5. I remember when it was like, like a little thing. I'm like,
I made this.
Now he's a grown kid. He's running around. So I just find that so fascinating, and that's the cool thing about personal training is that.
Right. You see people grow.
Yeah, you see people grow, right? And then also you're able to adjust your schedule to fit your lifestyle.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, if I had been like in a normal corporate job.
9 to 5.
That's the flexibility that I've had would probably not have been as possible. Right? So, I mean, people out there listening to this who are parents or whose spouse is pregnant will attest to the fact that there are a lot of doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
Right. And to be able to attend. I mean, my son now. I was able to go to every doctor's appointment. Right. Because that was important to me.
Right.
I didn't want to miss any one of them. So that's the benefit of being a personal trainer. Right.
It's kind of like working for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it is working for yourself.
That's true. Yeah. If
you don't work, you don't get paid. It is working for yourself. Okay.
I got you.
Yeah. So that's my routine, really. So I wake up early, get my mind right, meditate, and then just go make it happen.
Okay.
Right. Every day.
So out of all that work you've been doing, like I said, from you were working from 5 a.m. to like 8 p.m. at night. In that same time frame, you wrote a book.
Actually, I wrote the book before I came. Before I became a personal trainer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of had like this. What is this called? This foreshadowing. Like I already knew what to do. Therefore, you wrote the book, and then you went into actual training.
Right. Well, it's interesting how things again. Yeah. Just like how I got into personal training. Right. I never wrote the book because I thought I was going to go back to personal training. Right. Because at the time, again. When I left my previous job, I was in limbo. I just left it. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
And you went to writing? Is that what you're trying to say? You went into writing?
No. When I left that job, I had to rediscover myself. Okay. Right? At the time, the driving force was my health was like going down the tubes, right? And I had gained a lot of weight. Because people who struggle with weight will tell you they eat a lot of the emotions without even
something like that. Yeah. Do you say depression?
I want to say depression, but I was not happy. Okay. Like I was not feeling fulfilled.
Right.
I was making money. Okay, money. It wasn't even a lot of money, but I was just like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. This is not making. Like I'll get to work.
Yeah.
At 8 a.m. I look at the clock like 8:01. I was like. I was saying to myself, oh man, it's 8:01 right now. We got 9 more hours to go. I'll just be counting every second. And so I was like, it got to a point, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So I left, I dropped everything. And at the same time, during that whole time, I think I was there for like 2 years. I can't remember now. I gained a lot of weight. Okay. And so I remember, I don't define a moment in my life.
Yeah.
I remember, going to the doctors, and the doctor was like, Mr. Ocheni, you're pre-diabetic.
What year was this?
October 28, 2008.
2008. Okay,
October
so right before
20th,
you became a trainer.
Right. Well, no, a year before I became a trainer. Because I became a trainer in 2009.
Okay, gotcha.
So at that point, I was like, oh man, something's got to change.
Yeah.
And I was not happy. That was like a shocker.
Yeah.
I was like, man, how does a former captain of the wrestling team become a pre-diabetic? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. So I let go of a lot of things in my life.
Okay.
That was holding me down.
Right.
So, and then I started a new journey. And that journey at the time, what drove me was to start something and finish something, because I had to get some successes under my belt, because so I left this job. So to me, that was a failure, because I started it, I had to quit because I didn't finish it. I didn't become like a winner. Like I didn't do anything great at that job, and that kind of bothered me.
You didn't make an impact.
Yeah, I didn't make an impact. That bothered me, right? So, and then the job before that, I got frustrated. I left that job because I was like, man, that's not what I'm supposed to be. I didn't make a huge impact. I made an impression, but it was not a huge impact to my standards, right?
Right.
So when the doctor says to me, you're pre-diabetic, I was like, uh-oh. So, and that started a journey whereby I said to myself, actually, the doctor gave me two options. He said, you can try to lose weight, or we can put you on medication to help you manage, your blood pressure or whatever.
Oh, okay, like
and
cortisone shots or something like that.
I don't know what it was, but all I knew was I don't like doctors.
Yeah.
Hey, not I don't like doctors. I don't like hospitals. I don't like being in hospital.
Okay,
hospitals.
I understand that.
And then I don't like pills. I don't like injections.
Right.
They scare me. So
needles?
Yeah, man. I don't like it.
Today.
So I was like, well, that's not the route I'm going to take. Right. So let me try to lose weight, and that's like a journey. A 6-month journey where I lost 60 pounds more in 80 days. And then people were like, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you do it? And then at the time,
how many days did you say?
180 days.
100. So
6 months. 6 months
there
lost
you go.
60 pounds, 6 months. So I transformed myself, and then the cool thing about that, yes, I transformed myself but what was cool was I finished something.
Yeah.
So I started a journey.
Right.
I finished the journey. And that got me really excited. I was like, oh, finally, I can prove to myself that I can set a goal,
right,
work on it, and finish the goal.
Okay.
So that gave me confidence that, I can set goals and make it happen, right? So that was the exciting part about, other than the transformation. So the people were like, well, how did you do it? It was fun because people were watching me come to the gym every single day, and they saw me working out.
Here?
No, it wasn't here. It was different gym, Valleys.
Oh, okay.
And how I got here is a whole different story too, but I think 5 hours. But yeah, so people were asking me that question, and then the reason why I wrote the book, How to Get a Flat Stomach, was because I was getting really frustrated about what I saw out there on the net, on the internet. And what do I mean about that? Every time you see a before and after transformation, right?
Yeah.
In a magazine, online, whatever, right?
Back then, the big things were like what? Slim Fast?
It's still today. Like, you see all kinds of before and after pictures, right?
Right.
But what used to bother me was they'll never tell you how they really got there. Like, it used to really... Before and after. Okay, what did you do?
They would say, like, there would be marketing for something like, oh, take this pill, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
Man.
Shortcuts. But then we know, like, there's no shortcut.
Yeah, no shortcuts, Photoshop, all that.
So that's the same thing in life, too. Like, to think about it, this whole way, it took you 17 years to get where you are.
Yeah.
There wasn't, like, boom.
Overnight, no.
Become a trainer, you'll make money.
No, you don't become a trainer to make money. No? You'll be broke. So if you want to make money, become an engineer or something like that. That's more secure. So anyway, so I was like, man, I was just so frustrated. So I wrote the book to share my story of how I did it, like specifically how I changed my diet, how I changed my mindset.
Really?
That way when somebody picks it up, they'll be like, oh, this is how Patrick did it for real, not some like marketing ploy. So I never really promoted the book anyway because it was just for me to like, if someone asked me, someone asked me, I just say, go read the book.
Yeah.
It was easy for me to give them the book than to try to explain everything over and over again. So that was the motivation behind the book.
Okay.
But then later on, people were like, well, how did you do it? They were like, okay. Then I started training people. Before you knew it, I was like, you know what? This training thing, I used to do it.
Yeah.
It came back to me. I was like, why did I even live it in the first place? And that's how I go back into
What's the name of
personal
your book,
training.
by the way?
How to Get a Flat Stomach.
How to Get a
Flat Stomach. Yeah,
Very
it's on
simple.
Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Amazon can get it.
I'll try to put a link in the description on that. Okay, and then you got to training.
Yeah, I got
You
into
said it's a
training.
really long story. Do you want to get into it or no?
How I got into training?
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, again, at the time, I was like, okay, I was trying to evaluate in which direction to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like much more at home when it came to like working with people.
Yeah.
Working with people and just train. I just love working out, right? So then I was like, okay, well, let me get a job as a personal trainer.
Okay.
Okay, so I got certified, and then I was looking for a place to work. So I thought, okay, it made sense. I worked out. It was Bally's at the time. They're not out of business.
Is that the one at Piker
Oh,
Rose?
Road-
where
yeah,
Piker
yeah,
Rose is
Rugby
now?
Pike.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
there too.
that was where the gym was. I was like, well, it made sense. This is where I had my transformation. Let me work there.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, things happen for a reason. They kept like messing up my application. They kept losing it. Blah 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 blah.
That sounds so similar to my story.
Yeah, blah blah. They kept losing it. I would go back and forth. It was like, it was like trying to pull teeth, right?
Right.
And then again, somebody said something to me. Again, I changed my life.
Yeah.
And that was my dad.
Okay.
And then one day I was talking to my dad, and then he was like, "Oh, have you tried Gold's Gym?" And my dad does not work out. He's not into like fitness at all.
Okay.
But he's seen Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
And what's funny, true story, what's funny is that I used to walk past Gold's Gym every morning to get to Bally's. Like every morning, because I didn't have a car at the time. I get back my car when I left the other job. So I was walking to the gym every morning. So I used to walk past Gold Gym every month, but I never saw Gold Gym. Like I would walk past the building, it was right there, but I never.
I have membership here. I'm gonna go here.
I was so focused.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So focused. I didn't say Gold Gym.
Look at that light.
Yeah, I didn't say. And then my dad was like, "Okay, I've been trying Gold Gym." I was like, "Gold Gym." Gold Gym. I was like, okay, what the heck? So and then I went online. I'm not sure if I called him first. I can't remember, but I went online and I filled out an application. I came in, and then I came in for the interview, and I remember the guy at the time, the manager at the time, sat me down, and from that conversation, he's like, I can't let you go. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, we need to hire you right now.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. And what's very funny is that I looked
high
back.
charisma shows.
What was very funny was that I could tell he was like, kind of like, what do you call it? Like,
astonished? Like shocked?
No, not shocked, but he was like, it's hard to describe.
Flabbergasted.
No, it was like more like it was. I don't want to say nervous, but I could tell he was like, "Man, I have to close this deal. I can't let this guy go.
Okay,
right? I can't let this guy go." So I could tell this in his whole like body language, body language. So anyway, so he called in the general manager at the time. He came in. The general manager was like, "Okay, well, my manager said we got to hire you. There's something about this guy." So that's something I didn't see back then. So. They hired me. I got started, and that was it, man. Never looked back. And what's funny is that they left. I mean, the people that I started with, none of them are here.
Nice.
They left, and then I'm still going.
They're still going.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, to that, could you say in this whole story of your journey to being a personal trainer, one thing I really heard from all of it all was you never felt fulfilled in your other job. And could you say that? Having fulfillment in your life leads to happiness or leads to success?
Well, yeah. Well, you always hear people who are successful say that.
Yeah.
When your job, like, if you've got to do something you're excited about.
Right.
Right. Like
follow your passion.
Yeah. You've got to. It's very hard. You hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But until you try to do otherwise,
right.
It's very hard. Like, it's very hard. I mean, some of the qualities that I have as a trainer is applicable in other fields.
Right.
People say to me all the time, oh, Patrick could sell real estate, or Patrick could sell cars, or Patrick could sell this, X, and Y. And I probably could.
Yeah.
But I'm not excited about it. You know what I mean? So I got to be excited about what I'm doing because at the end of the day, remember, it's not the money that drives me. Right. I want to make money. Yeah. I want to make a lot of money, right? But it's not what drives me. What drives me is coming in and doing what I enjoy doing. Because, and that's the mistake a lot of trainers make. They come in, they're like, oh, I work out. Or they see, someone like me, for example, training clients. Oh, you just tell them to do push-ups and sit-ups or whatever.
I get that a lot too. I'm like, no, it's pretty hard to get strong too.
Not understanding the psychology behind it, right? So, that's how I can work. Back then, I don't do it as much anymore now, but I could train clients. I mean, literally, I would train clients from 5 a.m., like back to 7 p.m., no breaks, keep the excitement, the energy level at 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's hard to do.
And you do that, I want to say you ate maybe like, twice a day?
No, I wouldn't eat. No.
Wow, how do you keep the energy with no food?
No food.
That's a true warrior spirit in terms
man.
of like military for me. I'm like, wow.
Well, again,
I commend you on that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Again, when you love what you do, it's easy. I mean, one time I heard a story of how Beyonce, she was recording an album or something like that.
Yeah.
And she went like 3 days without eating. Like she was in the studio, and 50 Cent did the same thing. They were in the studio just recording, working on the songs, trying to make it just. I mean, when you are determined to be successful, right?
Nothing.
Eating is not gonna be like on your mind that much. Like you're supposed to eat, but you just in the flow, so to speak. Like you just keep on going, just boom, boom. You just stay focused, stay professional the entire time. Just get it done. I mean, just get it done. So that's the mindset you gotta have.
I like it. Wow. It's kind of like makes me speechless. I don't know where to go from next. Damn. How long have we been on this?
I don't know. Probably a while. How long?
55 minutes. This is probably my longest one yet. And that flowed pretty well.
That's okay, man. Keep going if you have to keep going.
I don't know. Do I have any questions from this on? In terms of training?
I mean, I think...
Or do you want to talk about like your personal... Like, I really want to highlight you in terms of like I always want to ask like, how did you do it? But I think you just told me.
How did I do what?
How did you keep up all this energy? How did you stay motivated? That kind of stuff.
Well, again, it goes back to
you had your priorities. You had that tunnel vision.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta have your priorities. The thing is, also the other thing that drives me is the fact that I have younger siblings. Okay.
Okay.
And one thing that's always in the back of my mind is I want.
So you're the oldest?
Second oldest.
Okay.
So I have an older brother too.
Right. Okay.
So my whole mindset is always been, even when I was in high school, I always want to be what I call a master copy word duplicated.
Okay.
So what does that mean? That means that they will look at me and be like, yeah, that's the kind of guy I want to be, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy I want my daughter to date, right?
Okay.
That's the kind of guy I want to associate with, right?
How was your home life? Like, did you feel like you needed a mentor? Did you have a mentor?
Well, if I were to say I had mentored my parents.
Okay.
Well, mentoring not in the sense that they sat down with me and say, Patrick, this is how you do. No, like they just led by example.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And I think that's my, like that's.
You're just a genuinely kind person because of your parents.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm a big believer in the fact that my success today is not because of just me. My success today is because of people who were there, who laid the groundwork for me, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm very fortunate because I cannot say to you, okay, Bryan, I'm successful at the train today because I knew how to train or I'm great in sales. No. Right. I'm successful today because my parents created an environment for me that I didn't have to worry about other things.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I didn't have to worry about going home and my parents are fighting, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about going home and not worry about food. I didn't have to go home and have the place to live, right?
Right.
All those things I didn't have to worry about. So even though they never said to me, Patrick, you need to do X, Y, Z, just by them positioning me for success made a huge difference. Now I can just focus on school, right?
Yeah.
Now I can just focus on trying to make money to pay for tuition, right? So all those things, having a stable household made a huge difference, right? So, and I think to me, that's why it's so important for me today to be present in my kid's life because him having that stability or feeling secure is very, very important. And I think a lot of the problems today, and that's why this also translates into how I train, right? Yeah. I mean, some trainers believe in like, yelling at people and criticizing them, using negative reinforcement. I don't believe in that, because I believe that in society, a lot of people on a day-to-day basis are dealing with a lot of negativity. You turn on the TV, negative stuff. You go to work, your boss is telling you you're not good enough. I mean, every day of your life, right?
Yeah.
Why do you need to come in to me and be beat down again?
Right.
So my mentality has always been, when somebody comes to me and train with me or associate with me, they leave feeling much more, what's it called? Happy, fulfilled, excited, better by themselves.
Okay.
All right, and that goes back to that home life of just feeling like, today my dad is doing what he's supposed to do to make sure I feel secure, right?
So in your way, like you're helping them by creating a support system.
Exactly, that's what I do.
Yeah.
What I do is I be that dad they never had, or they wish they had. I be that husband. I be that brother. I be everything. So I create. For the 30 minutes, the half an hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour time to spend with me, I help them forget the problems.
Right.
So
in a way, you could probably say you're their version of your morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
So in your morning, you spend your time looking at other people, motivating. People come to you for that motivation.
Exactly.
Bring people up.
Exactly. And people want to be around people that makes them feel better. Nobody wants to be around somebody that's negative and down.
Exactly.
Nobody. That's why
negative breeds company. Is that the term? That's a
success breeds success. I mean, you attract what you think about.
Right. So I mean, I still want to say I want to say a similar story in terms of my podcast too. Like I really wanted to really associate mental health. I got really into the advocacy of mental health because of that same story, basically. Like throughout society nowadays, everything's so negative, and I just want to be a person that be able to talk to.
Right, exactly.
And I want to be able to show that you could talk to other people.
Yep.
In my personal opinion, or in my personal point of view, it's like I grew up very quiet, sheltered. Like I was telling you, I was always picked up by my parents, going to school, until I came out and started hanging out with my peers. And because of that, I kind of learned both ways. And in my background, since I was always home, I spent a lot of time by myself. Even though I had 3 older brothers, since they were 11 years older than me,
couldn't really relate.
They couldn't relate to me. I was just like the bratty kid who played with toys. I'm like, okay. But they were doing their own thing. And then at the same time, I guess I grew up a little more introverted. I had to grow up introverted. I had to figure out how to play with myself until I came out and started introducing myself to other people. And I think this is where we kind of differ, but we have the same philosophy. I think that you were just off the bat, you're very personable and you can really express yourself. And I think until age 13, I think it was about the time where my parents got divorced, that's the time where I started seeing them fighting. Because prior to that, I was clear mindset. I could just focus on my grades, just think about fun stuff.
Right.
And it's so funny that it's just like our stories just relate so well, and I never heard it until today.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, maybe subconsciously we connect, we didn't realize it.
Yeah. I always felt like it's always like fate to find the people you like. Kind of like what you said too. I think I heard another quote. It's like you are the average of the 5 closest people around you.
Right. Exactly.
And we've always worked together. It's like, man, now that if I overthink, I'm like, maybe there's a reason why we're still together. We're still in the same vicinity.
Right.
That's just awesome.
Yeah, man. So I think, at the end of the day, you just have to. What I see, and that goes into the next thing I'm trying to work on.
What's that?
The next thing I'm trying to work on, the next phase of my life, the next challenge that I want to take on, is taking what I have learned as a trainer and helping other people achieve the same level of success, if not more.
Right. I completely agree.
That is the next level. So far, the last 2.5 years, I've been slacking. Not slacking per se, but not having motivated to do, just because, again, my priority, my focus has been different, right? And I'm the kind of person that when I do something, I hate to do it half-heartedly.
Right, you go all in.
I go all in.
You're extreme.
Yeah, exactly. So it's either I'm in it,
or you're not.
I'm not in it.
Yeah.
I got you. But when I'm on, I am on, right?
completely
So,
hear
but
you.
that
I
is,
agree
but
with
that is the next phase that I see, and I'm starting to formulate that. I'm trying to, put that together. So, because I think a lot of people, a lot of trainers out there have it all wrong.
I agree.
They're not. I mean, I see things that I'm like, wow. I mean, you're not gonna achieve success that way, right?
Yeah.
So, and I see again, going back to when I wrote the book, I see a lot of trainings out there about how to become a successful trainer, and I'm like, there's a missing link there. There's a missing link there.
Right.
The things that are not teaching you that's somebody. I mean,
It's like success is a mindset. It's not really a step-by-step process. Therefore, you can't really train for it or learn how to do it. Because I feel like nowadays people are looking for tactics in terms of how to achieve it. Like, all right, well, tell me the step by step, but there isn't a step. The step is being mindful of yourself.
There's a process. There's a process. For example, there's just certain kind of image you have to project to attract a certain kind of clientele, right?
Okay.
So otherwise, you never attract the clientele. You know what I'm saying? So it ties into the mindset, right? Because, for example, if I want to train, I don't know, Bill Gates, let's just say, because he's a pretty rich guy, I'm not going to show up with flip-flops, my hair all messed up. I don't have much hair, but you know what I mean? I'm not going to show up with like chalk on my face and be like, okay, Mr. Gates, I'm here to train you.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Like, the image in that environment, if I want to attract Bill Gates, is very important. Because guess what? He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
For me to train a billionaire, I have to prove to him I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. So how I present myself is very important. Now, if I go to another environment where they're not so Bill Gates-ish, right? They might not care. Okay, I show them flip-flops, whatever. Now, again, it depends on my level of success, right?
Right.
If, let's say I'm already a billionaire, now I can roll up to Bill Gates' house in flip-flops, right?
So, no, I disagree to that. I completely disagree because I personally believe it's all about you, like your personality. Like, to think about, who's the creator of Amazon, do you remember?
Creator of Amazon, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. Oh, actually, maybe not Jeff Bezos. So, like, I don't really know, to be honest. I was going to think, like, a Jeff Bezos, a Ty Lopez. There's certain people who rather see you be genuine versus, I don't know.
Well,
because you're not a type of guy who would come in there with a full suit, like, hey,
No,
Mr.
you're
Bill
not-
Gates, I would like to train you.
You're not good. I mean, again, it depends, right?
It's more about approach. I feel like you're a very good communicator. That's why you're a great trainer as well.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
There's more to it. See, like,
Okay.
I know
different
communication comes in different forms, right?
Right.
You communicate verbally, communicate language, body language.
Yeah.
And how you dress is communicating. How you
Right.
shake someone's hands is
Yeah.
communicating. So all those things are saying something, right? Not just what you say.
Right.
You
I
can be
agree to
right.
how you dress
can be
says
You can
something
be.
about
So
you.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can be. I can say the right words, but if my look doesn't match up,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't jive.
Okay.
Now, there's some people who can get away with it because they've already achieved a level of success, right?
Yeah.
Russell Simmons.
Russell
The guy
Simmons,
loves to dress in sneakers,
Yeah.
but he's Russell Simmons.
Right.
Until you make Russell Simmons money, you're not going to be dressing like Russell Simmons, right?
I don't know. I think at that point you're connecting his money to his personality.
No.
Because like if Arnold came to you and if Arnold didn't have the muscles he had, but he had the mindset, I think he would still be very.
But he won't be Miss Olympia. It's hard. He can be a very nice guy.
Credibility is a very big thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first I have to show Mr. Gates that, hey, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
After the first session, I can show up in flip-flops. But
Okay.
first, I had to be like, I know what I'm doing, and I have to get him to believe and trust. That's what they say. People buy from people they like and trust.
Right.
Right? If he doesn't trust that this guy knows what he's talking about,
Yeah.
I showed up in flip-flops, they'll be like, what's going on, right? But on first impression is everything.
Yeah.
You don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
first impression, I come in, Boom, impress him, wow him, get the deal. Then the next day, I show up in my regular attire to train him. You see what I'm saying? So, two-step process in that process, right?
The only thing that rubs me the wrong way, I think it's just like maybe how you're saying it too, is I think of it as like the interview process.
It is an interview.
But then I feel like majority of people in their interview, it's not their genuine self.
Well, that's probably why they don't last long in that field, right? If you
Or they don't like their job.
or they don't like exactly,
Yeah, they're doing it for the money.
Exactly, exactly. You can fake an interview,
right?
So don't get me wrong. You should be genuine in all aspects, right?
Right.
If you're trying to be successful in what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because if I had came in and sold myself as something I'm not, I probably wouldn't be in this field that long.
Yeah.
But I came in as me. I came in with my story. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Right.
And that was the Patrick of 2008 is a Patrick that sits before you today with more experience in life and so on and so forth. But at the core, I'm the same person. So like, if you know, how I talk to you right here is how I'm going to talk to you outside or whatever.
Right.
So consistency, that's the other thing about being a successful trainer. You got to be consistent throughout. People have to know what to expect.
Right.
There's a reason why McDonald's looks the same everywhere. There's a reason why the process is the same everywhere. That way when you go to McDonald's, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in Kansas or I don't know what else. California is still the same taste.
Yeah.
You know what to expect, right?
Big Mac sauce is always the Big Mac sauce.
Exactly. Don't try to change it, right? Yeah. So I think, you know, with my clients, when they come to me, the brand you create go to branding, right?
Yeah.
The brand you create, people get to know what to expect.
Right.
When
so let's run it out. Patrick,
yes, sir.
Or is there one last thing you want to like mention that's like really speaks about you, or like something you want to tell people?
I mean, I think that one thing, if there's one thing that I want to share with people is that be nice to everybody.
Be nice to everybody.
Be generally nice to everybody, and take the time to think about other people, right? As opposed to just focusing on yourself, right?
Okay.
I mean, if you can apply that mindset, I think the world would be a better place. I mean, I think a lot of the times, and I see it here at the gym, people just think about me, without worry about how things affect other people, right? So what you say and what you do, just think about how it's affecting other people, right?
Okay.
So if every single day you go out with the mindset of be nice to everybody, you never know. You never know how you can truly impact positively, change people's lives, save lives.
Yeah.
By just smiling at somebody.
Yeah.
You know, say hello, how are you? There are people right now, I mean, and as you get older, you get to realize this more and more. The people at home right now, you talk about when you were growing up and sometimes either having to be by yourself, right? There are kids right now sitting at home with nobody to call a friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? They feel alone, like nobody cares about them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you hear about suicide rates, kids killing themselves these days.
Yeah.
All those comes to them at the end of the day, feeling like nobody cares about them.
Right.
So like when you go out the door, you never know. That kid might be like, you smile at him or her, like, oh my God, somebody noticed me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that might make a difference.
Right.
You never know, right? So that's just one thing I'd like to share with people is that in all you do, wherever you are, take the time to smile, to say hello. You just never know might save a life, right? That would be my message for today.
That's some strong words.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's let them know where they can find you.
Well, they can go to bodybypatrick.com. All right, BODY,
Okay.
to find me. That's pretty much it.
You want a Facebook, Instagram, anything like that?
No, not
Not
yet.
really on social media?
I'm still old school. I'm still kind of old school. Okay. I'm working on my Instagram.
Gotcha.
Working on that stuff. But if they go to bodybypatrick.com, they should find me.
Okay. So let's end it on that. Be nice.
All right. Be nice, man. Be nice. Okay? Talk to you guys soon.
Until next time.